Bulginaka, do you know that cybercrime is becoming a growing problem in Fiji?
Cybercrime is defined as a crime in which a computer is the object of the crime, such as hacking and spamming.
Cybercrime is also cyberbullying and using fake profiles to cause panic and spreading false news.
If you're involved in this or know anyone who's committing these crimes, report them immediately.
I'm Polly.
And I'm Peter.
We host the Traffic Jam Show on City FM.
From 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. every weekday.
Do the right thing.
In this bulletin, mortgage repayment relief for next 3 months. Rambuka resigns from Sodelpa. And grace period for sale of Styrofoam products.
From the studios of FBC Suva.
New laws are being introduced to protect Fijian homes from being seized by banks for the inability to pay loans by accessing their Fiji National Provident Fund accounts. The COVID-19 response home loan bill has been tabled in Parliament to be debated and voted upon tomorrow. Together with this, the minister has also announced that the banks have agreed to extend the loan repayment holidays until March 31st next year. Kritika Kumar reports.
Attorney General Ayase Kiyum told the House that the government does not want Fijians to lose their homes because they can't service their loans.
And what this law does, Mr. Speaker, sir, is firstly ensures that the banks will continue with this holiday or this arrangement till 31st of March. After 31st of March, the banks must use all essentially endeavors to ensure that they can continue with those arrangements. In the event that they cannot, then they can access, the borrower can access the FNPF accounts up to 50%.
This also applies to any FNPF member who has already used part of their retirement fund to buy a home previously.
We want to have the RBF have an oversight over these accounts because homes are very important. The argument being, what's the point of preserving your FNPF? Even if it's a preserved account, you're going to lose the roof over your head.
Seth Kayum confirms the fund will have a charge over the homes, and if any property does end up being seized by a bank officer or lender, the FNPF will be paid back all monies.
That amount of money from the sale must go back into the preserved account of FNPF. Because you could have a situation, a person has used the FNPF money now, it's okay for the next 2 years, and if they subsequently lose their home, they've lost their home and they've lost their FNPF preserved account.
Seth Kayum says he met with all banks and lending institutions 2 days ago, and they have all agreed to support the government in assisting affected Fijians. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Former Social Democratic Liberal Party leader Sitiveni Rambuka has resigned from the party. New party leader William Ngavoka has confirmed receiving the resignation notice, saying they have always valued the contribution of Rambuka and wished him well for his future plans. When asked by FBC News if Rambuka's grievances were not being answered could have been a reason for the move, Ngavoka only says there was a process always in place to look into that matter. Rambuka had raised a grievance about the selection of party leader, where he lost to Ngavoka yesterday. On his social media, Rambuka says his political career is far from over and is now repositioning himself because his presence in Sodelpa has come untenable. It's official, Sodelpa's stand for the 2022 general election is focused on the release of all those responsible for the May 2000 coup. The newly elected leader of the opposition, Ratuna Ngama Lalambalavu, is spearheading this move as one of the first things to do on his list, saying the likes of coup frontman George Speight, Ratu Inoke Takivekata, and others involved in the May 2000 sacking of government should be released from prison. George Speight had appointed Ratuna Ngama as his Minister for Fijian Affairs in his rebel government after executing his coup. Ratuna Ngama subsequently served a prison term for his involvement in the 2000 turmoil, but was released from prison after a short time due to what he claimed was his failing health. His call to pardon the culprits of 2000 has also received the backing of New Sodelpa leader William Ngavoka.
Enshrined indigenous supremacy.
George Speight is still a divisive figure in Fiji, having led an ethno-nationalist takeover of government 20 years ago.
That's in the past.
It was an ethnically
That's in the
influenced-
past.
His actions were.
You don't know him now. Once he's still in there, he's changed.
Do you
That's
know
the
this
yellow
person?
ribbon thing that is being promoted by the government.
He has served his time, and what we have is that he's a changed person.
This isn't the first attempt to have Spate released. The Unity and Reconciliation Bill, touted by the then Songosongondua Watanilewe Vanua, or SDL, proposed in the spirit of reconciliation to have Spate and others pardoned.
Even prisoners, they have rights. It's along those lines that I'm asking for it.
Absolutely. We've been fighting for it for quite some time. It is a party position to do that, yes.
Sodelpa executives insist Spate isn't the same man who took siege of parliament at gunpoint and held government ministers hostage for 56 days.
Your comment on that he's a changed person. You asked me if I know or not, but how do you know?
I have been in prison. Have you been in prison? Trying going in, staying there. You'll come out as a changed person.
George Spate had his death sentence commuted to life imprisonment after being found guilty of treason in 2002.
With national economies continue being affected in coming months, there is still a need to protect our ocean, its resources, and the very people who depend on it. Fisheries Minister Semikori Lavesau says we are living in unprecedented times due to COVID-19. In his message for the Blue Justice Initiative, which is hosted by Norway and UNDP, Kori Lavesau says we cannot let our guards down. He says Fiji will greatly benefit from the initiative.
It is imperative to highlight that transnational organized crime in the global fishing industry has been lingering for some time. It undermines the work that our respective governments do in addressing illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing, and it certainly takes the fight to a whole new level.
A 6-month grace period on the use of styrofoam products kicks in from next month. Attorney General Ayasad Kayum confirms the temporary relaxation of the ban on polystyrene products is to help get rid of current stock.
On the 1st of Jan, the raw material that is used to manufacture it will be banned. So those manufacturers of it, of this particular product, they are manufactured in Fiji, but they get a raw material from overseas. They will keep on making it and exhaust their stock.
Retailers, suppliers and distributors will be allowed to exhaust their current stock by the end of July 2021. Fiji could look into the possibility of venturing into telehealth, says the U.S. Ambassador to Fiji, Joseph Sella. Speaking in Lambasa yesterday, Sella says talks on this are in its early stages. Eleanor Turangaiviu has more.
It may be new to Fiji, but the use of telehealth took the U.S. by storm since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, where healthcare providers deliver their services to their patients using commonly used apps like FaceTime, Facebook Messenger, Google Hangouts, Zoom or Skype.
And during lockdowns, it's been a vehicle, a tool to receive health care in the remotest of places.
U.S. Ambassador to Fiji, Joseph Sella, says early discussions on implementing this in Fiji has commenced.
We're in communication with Vodafone and the Ministry of Health and Dr. Krishnan and our Defense Department on how we can work to provide equipment and work with remote cell phone signals.
The USAID Senior Development Advisor, Dr. Alex Huerta, says Vanuatu has the digital capacity to do telehealth.
Telehealth is something we can try. So we do have the ability to do digital connectivity programs.
Vodafone is interested in building conceptually remote hubs where people can go and have a signal and confer with their doctor.
The U.S. Ambassador is in the Northern Division this week to strengthen relations with the business community and CSOs in order to deliver assistance to the rural communities. Eleanor Turangaiviu, FBC News.
4 people were electrocuted within a month, with 1 dying as a result. Energy Fiji Limited Chief Executive Hasmukh Patel has raised concerns, calling on Fijians to be careful, especially during the cyclone season. Patel says there has been heavy downpour recently and 2 cross-arms on electricity poles broke away, resulting in the power lines either falling on the ground or hanging low. He says there have been incidents where people, including a student, received jolts.
Here in the cyclone season, occasionally we're going to get heavy downpour even with some winds. And as a result of heavy downpour, it could happen that a power line comes down on the ground for some reason. So please alert your children. I know schools are closing now, or have closed more or less. But what we are saying is that when children are moving around in their compound or out in the playgrounds, or they're going anywhere outside their homes, and if they see a power line on the ground, please educate your children to stay away from power lines.
Up ahead, future looks bright for flying Fijians. And police retain Sukuna Bowl football title.
O ira na ngone no de nunu ena be singa ni mataka.
Mersu sunga da kena loma dina kena mikron.
Sakena ngau na mitar lo bina nora baksa ngai ka pala lo mataki na ngone. Dalo bina o ya o meliki.
Bulre o ya o Samuel Samuli.
Nama ki rau ena be mataka.
Boniti kena magrombuka.
Ni boy tini kalima na miniti me ono kina tini na kaloko. Ena radio Fiji One na ndomo ibiti.
Pinda pinda na mataka. Dan ramai na singabo.
Fiji Rugby Union High Performance Manager Simon Raiwalui is confident the young players that featured against Georgia can play in 2 Rugby World Cups. Raiwalui made special mention of lock Temo Mayanava and who has the potential to play in the next 2 World Cups. The former national captain believes Mayanava Mesulame Kunavula and the rest of the young players have a big future in the white jersey.
Temo is a class player. He's a young under-20s ex-captain. Has earned his spot. He performed at the highest level, and he's one of our players that will be part of our pathway through till 2023-27 hopefully.
Warm-up matches for the Nawaka Blacks Youth Sevens team has been crucial as they prepare for the Uluinakau Sevens tournament, which kicks off tomorrow. The side also wrapped up their training in Nandi yesterday, ready to step onto the field and stamp their mark early in the 2-day tournament, which starts tomorrow. Felipe Naikaso has more.
A perfect start and being consistent is what the Nawaka Black Youth Sevens team is aiming for, especially during the first day.
Every team's aim is to become #1. That's to be the winner of every tournament. That is also the team's aim. This time we want to go there and win, but we will try our best.
2 warm-up games last week also gave the coach an opportunity to look at areas they will need to work on before game day.
The warm-up we had, we built our combination. We saw our fitness, and yeah, it was a good game. We had we really appreciate what the boys had shown.
Majority of the players have been together since the under-16 grade, and they'll be banking on this team chemistry.
We are very happy for the preparing we are in for the last few weeks. Now we are preparing well for the game on Friday.
16 youth teams will battle it out from Friday at Rotothakambol Park. Felipe Naikaso, FBC Sports.
The Fiji Police Force has successfully retained their Ratusukuna Bowl soccer title. The side defeated Army 2-0 in a tightly contested match at Albert Park in Suva yesterday. Lambasa's Ratu Anare was the hero for the Blues, scoring both goals. The Blues dedicated the win to their families and colleagues in the police force.
2 goals is for my colleagues working there at the station. This is for you guys.
This win was dedicated to the officers out there who's been working tirelessly. I think this is the return of investment since we've been released to come and participate for the Sukuna Bowl, and I think that was the message from yesterday from Acting Commissioner of Police. And I think the boys did that today. And overall, we dedicate this win to all the officers, all the men and women out there in the field. Thank you for holding the fort.
Netball Fiji has stressed that the final Fiji Pearl squad will be selected on merit. The selection of the 25-member training squad last month has seen a mix of young and veteran players vying to book a spot in 2023 World Cup. Netball Fiji Secretary Lucy Rokoura says this will be an avenue for the young players to learn as much as they can from the veteran players.
They're blending well with our senior players. Everyone knows that we are picking on merit, and those that are putting up their hands for selection will be selected. So it's a good blend of young players and the senior players. So we're excited for this, for the next 4 years, and our partnership with Australia Pacific sport program.
Taking a look at the weather, a strong wind warning remains in force for land areas of Yasawa Group, Kandavu and nearby smaller islands, Vanuatu, Taveuni and nearby smaller islands, northern parts of Viti Levu, Coral Coast to Pacific Harbour and Lau, and the Lomai Viti Group. A trough of low pressure remains slow moving to the north of Fiji. The associated cloud and rain affects the northern parts of the country. That is your FBC Morning News. Join us at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. for our major bulletin. Remember, in times of crisis, you need factual news that you can trust. Stop believing fake news about the COVID-19 on social media. Fight misinformation by getting only the facts about the coronavirus from verified news sources like FBC's TV, radio, and digital media news. FBCnews.com.fj, keeping Fijians connected with the truth.
हमारे खूबसूरत देश फिजी में चाइल्ड अब्यूज की घटनाएं आए दिन बढ़ रही हैं।
क्यों बच्चों का मासूम बचपन अब्यूज का शिकार हो जाता है?
अपने बच्चों की सुरक्षा का खास ख्याल रखें।
उनसे बातचीत करें, उनके दोस्तों के बारे में जानें।
आज के बच्चे देश का भविष्य है। मैं दीप्ति
और मैं मोनिश,
आपके हमसफर। शामिल हो जाए हमारे साथ मंडे टू फ्राइडे
5:45 AM से 10 AM तक
रेडियो फिजी 2 देश की धड़कन पर।